It's the morning of October 21st, Whitey Ford's birthday, by the way, 2017, and we're where we are many times a year, and always a highlight of the year. It's when we come here for the North Country Honor Flight. We're at the under the gymnasium here at the Plattsburgh Recreation Complex, and some of the folks are arriving. You see Town Supervisor Michael Cashman, Barry Finnegan, Tom Halleck, and sounds like that's Mrs. Tom. And we're here. We want to keep the camera close to this fellow right here, Myron Dagenhart from Champlain. Doesn't know he has a special guest that's going along with him today. Zeke, as we know him, is going on the virtual flight, which is a new thing, brand new thing that they're doing here now. There's going to be 14 veterans getting on the bus and heading for Washington, the airport, and then to Washington, D.C., where they'll tour all the monuments there and other things set up to recognize the veterans. And there's 8 that just can't fly for one reason or another, whether it's personal, fear of flying, or whatever. So Zeke is one of the ones who has decided he wants to take a virtual tour. So they'll go to Beekmantown, they'll put on those virtual reality glasses and take a reality tour. But he doesn't know that his brother, who lives out of state, is coming also on that virtual reality tour. So he's going to surprise Myron. He's the one here on our, right there, looking this way here. Okay, and one of the first faces we saw when we arrived here was this fellow here that we remember from the Battle of Plattsburgh. Now, you weren't in the Battle of Plattsburgh, were you?
No, I'm not that old.
Okay.
No, Korea.
Korea. All right, Mr. Kit Booth. What's the real name, Kit?
Christopher, yeah.
Have you been Kit all your life?
I have. My mother thought it was a good nickname, and that's the way it's been.
So, you were in the Korean War, and
Yeah.
you could have gone on this for a while. You finally decided you'd take the trip?
Yeah, they've been some of them have been saying, why don't you do it? And I finally said, oh, okay, I guess I will, because everybody that comes back from it says it's just been a wonderful experience. So I wanted to do it.
I can't think of anybody who deserves a wonderful trip more than you do, Kit.
You.
Who's going to be your guardian?
My son Chris is going to be our guardian, and he was born the year that I went to Korea, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was just a couple months old when I left.
That's tough, isn't it?
It was tough on Sally, yeah, but fortunately we came back and everybody got together again, and it was wonderful. So,
you know, it's always tough, now, but now you can keep in touch. But back then there was very little communication once you took off.
I remember being able to make a record, one of those. Nobody knows what they are anymore, but 45, I think it was, of my voice, and sent it back, and Sally didn't want to listen to it. I think my parents did, and her father did, I know, but she didn't want to hear it. Yeah, that wasn't a good idea, but I thought for Christmas it was a good idea.
Well, yeah.
But I made a mistake.
And vice versa, it would have been nice for you to hear their voices out in Korea.
That's true. Now, I guess you can phone back and forth. Well, you got your cell phone, and probably that
Skype
works.
And
Skype,
yeah.
It's a whole different world.
Yeah, technology just keeps marching forward. So, you're one of the 14 that are going, and I think there's still a few World War II veterans that are going on the
Yes,
on your
it
trip.
looks like a lot of Korean veterans in this trip. So well, there aren't too many World War II guys around who could make the trip.
Yeah,
it's getting scarcer and scarcer.
I'm thinking that your brother Bob did go on the trip, did he?
I don't believe he did.
You don't think he did?
No, I don't think so. I think that's too bad. I wish he had, because he was a far greater hero than most of us.
POW.
A lot more than me. Yeah, POW for 5 months,
Gordy Little and I did a total of 4 full video stories with him. And
you did?
Yeah, 4 video stories with him. It took that long, and he was he was very gracious to share that with us.
Yeah,
So
well, when he came back, he didn't talk about it for many years, actually.
I can imagine.
The first I remember when he first came back, he sat down on the living room floor with a bunch of ashtrays and things. He laid out the scenario of where he was captured, and that's the last time that I heard him mention it until many years later, when he started to write a history of it for his division, and then began to talk to people like you.
Yeah, that was just great. Another one that a story I think of when I think of what Bob went through was a fellow up in our neck of the woods in the Northern Tier, Hector Kaufman,
Yeah.
who was a MIA and had landed, and the family that he stayed with hiding, they got together maybe 8-10 years ago. It was just a great story.
Was that
he
right?
went back to Belgium, and then they came over here to visit, and we got them together. And
So he was hidden by the Belgians?
Yes.
And saved that way.
his plane crashed.
I didn't know that about him.
Yeah, so just another fantastic story.
Yeah.
You know? And it's nice when the stories are like his, are a good story. Even though being an MIA is not a good story, but the way it worked out was such a great
It was
thing.
tough on his family, I'm sure, not
yeah.
knowing.
Yeah.
Well, Bob was an MIA for
Yeah.
5 months until
Right.
actually
So
he
you-
was released
Yeah,
in
you
May.
didn't know if he was a POW or...
No, had no idea.
Yeah, he
No.
died in action, so
My mother wrote a letter to him every day, all the time he was gone.
every day.
Yeah, and
Wow.
kept it here and gave it to him when he came back.
Wow. Well, we appreciate you chatting with us, kid.
Thank
This
you.
has got to be an exciting day for
It
you.
is. It is. We're looking forward to it. Thanks very
All right.
much.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
Thanks to Kit Booth. Okay, here we are. Here we are, Hunk Dagenhart. We met him a few years ago at the Champlain alumni gathering, and here's Hunk meeting up with his brother Zeke. So Zeke didn't know that Hunk was coming, and Hunk, of course, knew. And now Ron Badger from the 912 is over to offer his best wishes. And we wish that we had realized that he had come in, but we could have captured the moment and the look on his face, but it didn't work out that way. More family members coming up. It looks like Red Fillion is a guardian for Zeke. Richard Red Fillion. Okay, we got the reunited brothers here. I know your real name's not Hunk, but I can't remember what it is.
It's Edwin.
Edwin.
Edwin, yeah.
Dagenhart. And Myron, I know his real name is Zeke.
That's right, a real one.
Yeah.
So this is a bit of a surprise for Zeke. He didn't know I was coming.
And you live where right now?
Right now, I'm on the way to Florida, between Maine and Florida.
You took the wrong turn somewhere.
It was a good turn. And one turn deserves the other, you know.
So how did it happen that somebody got a hold of you? That you knew Zeke was going, or what?
Pauline had gone to see Zeke, and then she called me to tell me what he was doing, you know. And I said, gee, maybe I'll go over. A couple of days later, she said, as long as you're coming over, we're going to honor you as well. So here we are.
So you were both in World War II, were you?
Yep. Yeah. He of course is longer than I, he got into some of the tough stuff, but I was a stateside guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's still there and still
so
serving.
yeah, I was only in a little over a year. Yeah, and they said, "You want to go to college, or do you want to go to sea?"
So let me think about it. Yep.
Yeah. So I came here
Champlain College?
right where we're standing, my first year of college, and Zeke came here as well.
Oh, yeah. I didn't realize that. So were you a classmate of Bob Venn's here? Because Bob Venn came here to
Yep.
Champlain College.
Yep. Yeah. Bob Venn. Yeah.
I think Bob graduated in '46 from high school. So you were what, 44, 45?
I was 45.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And Zeke, what year did you graduate?
41.
41. So just at the right time to get involved in World War II.
Just in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you came here to Champlain College, and that started you on your engineering degree?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Spent 2 years here.
Okay. Well, you got family and friends here that want to chat with you guys, so I won't hold you up, but I'm glad you were surprised this morning.
Well, it was a big surprise.
Enjoy your day.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be a great one.
All right, thank you. Hunk and Zeke. We're going to stick a microphone in this guy's face and see if he'll talk to us. Last time I saw you, young man, you were on the altar.
Yeah, I was.
I went to that miners,
Oh yeah, that was at the Miners' Mass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mr. Frenchie Siskavich,
yeah,
and you're going on a virtual tour.
yeah. I am. I'm really tickled. I never wanted to go fly the water. I've been there so many times that I've seen everything, you know. And this time, of course, my wife isn't that well, so I didn't want to leave her anyways, you know. But I'm glad that I come to this. You know, it is something, and I got most of my family here too. I mean, it's, you know, and of course my daughters. You know, I got some kids there that they're good. You know, they'll do everything for you. You know, so I'm really happy to be here. I got my oldest son here, Bernard. Yeah. So yes, I'm happy. Look at the people. I'm surprised. This morning, the motorcycles that come to Lime Mountain, and then I find out that my son, Peter, that works at Champlain, him and his buddy Corey, were the ones that brought me here, you know. I said they work for the U.S. government at Champlain, and everything is so surprising, you know.
So what time did you get up this morning?
Well, I'll tell you, I went to bed. I normally go to bed late. You know, last night I went to bed at 9:15 because I knew about this. At 10 o'clock I was up. I was up at 2. I was up at 3. At 4 o'clock I got the heck out of bed and I said, that's it. I said,
Time to get up. No sense in...
I had to get up.
You weren't sleeping anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't very happy when I knew the Yankees were playing and had to go to bed early last night.
Well, to me, it don't make any difference. I mean, somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose, you know?
Well, they lost.
Yeah. Yeah. Boy, this is nice. I mean, you know, what the people do for you, I never had anything like this, you know.
Right. So were you in the World War II or Korean?
World War II.
Were you?
Yeah, they took me out of my senior class. I got a letter from President Roosevelt, says greetings. He says I need you. So so when I was in at the end of World War II, and then when I went in for like 1 year, 5 months, and 24 days.
Not that you were counting.
Yeah, and when I come back, I went to school for a half year to get my high school diploma.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Then I worked in the mines for 7 years, and then I was a correction officer for 34 and a half years. I worked down a bar, so.
Oh, that was handy.
Yeah. Yeah, this is awesome.
Have a good day.
I have my kids over there, the girls.
All right. We'll let you chat with your family. Nice seeing you, Frenchie.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Say hello to Bill Chase when you see him.
I will.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. I got to make some spaghetti sauce because he's going to have for the Republicans. Here I'm a registered Democrat, but I don't work that way. And he says I'm going to have a Republican get together in November 1st, but he says I want you to make my spaghetti sauce. Okay, Bill. I says I'll do it for you.
Do a good job.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you. As more and more veterans arrive, Frenchie's gonna have to make room here. We're gonna make our way through here. I want to keep the camera rolling because we're gonna go over and talk to another fellow that I'm familiar with. And he's saying hello to everybody. Hello there, Ken Lord. How are you doing? So they finally got you to go, but you're going to Beekmantown.
Right.
Right back.
Yep, well, I don't know. I've been thinking about that since they started sending them to New York, but I never got around to it.
Well, you're going today, the virtual tour.
As far as I'm going to get is this place here.
Well, I think you'll enjoy the day.
Oh, yeah.
What do you have for your guardian?
Grace Lauren.
Okay. Oh, I just saw her, yeah. Okay, there she is. Okay, so she'll be spending the day with you, so it's something you're looking forward to, I hope.
Right.
All right.
Oh, yeah. It's great help.
All right, well, have a good time, Ken.
Thank you.
All right. Ken Lord from Coopersville.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Honor Flight number 22. As most probably already know, today is a little bit different. After today, we'll have sent 328 of our veterans to the memorials down in Washington to visit their memorials. We also have 8 special guests that for various reasons will not fly, do not fly, different reasons, and they're all special reasons. So that being said, this is our first inaugural virtual reality honor flight. Gentlemen, most people know what we do as honor flight when they go to Washington. What they don't know is that North Country Honor Flight has set out to give you guys as close to the experience as possible that we give the rest of our veterans. We hope we're successful on that. This is all new, so we're looking for feedback. Please let us know if there's anything else we can add to your day. We're hoping you get the day that you guys have earned and deserved. Just a brief overview. What they're going to do is, as the bus pulls into the airport, I guess I'll back up. There's a parade route that leaves here. Once the ceremony's done, the buses are escorted from here all the way over to the airport. Along the way, you're going to see many different people on the side of the road. Many fire departments get out to show their respect for our veterans. So it's a pretty neat ride. If you get a chance and you have time, follow that parade route over to the airport. Once at the airport, with all the law enforcement and all the motorcycle escorts, our veterans will be getting off to go on the flight. So those gentlemen will be going inside to the airport and go through TSA and get ready for their day in the air. The second part of that is our virtual reality veterans are going to continue on to Beekmantown Central School. Mr. Gary Lambert and the Beak Squad up there at Beekmantown have set up a virtual reality tour where they're going to tour the memorials through virtual reality headsets, and we hope that's great for them. The escort leaving the airport, especially to all our dedicated bikers that some of them left their house at 4 o'clock this morning to escort our veterans here. If you have time, please escort that bus and the law enforcement out to Beekmantown Central School. To anybody else, if you have time, we're looking to line the streets and into the Beekmantown School for a welcome for these veterans as they go into the school. We hope we have a large crowd, and much like the crowd that these guys are going to see down at the World War II Memorial, we're hoping to recreate that at Beekmantown Central. So if anybody has the time to get involved in all that, we'd appreciate it. Why is there a virtual reality tour? Some people just are not going to get on a plane for various reasons. Some just don't feel that the rigors of the day is going to be too much, and they're worried about that. We've got one veteran is very worried about what is going to happen down at the memorials. What he went through during the war could come back, and he's worried about the reaction once he sees that. So that being said, those guys are not going to fly. Mr. Myron Dagenhart had a flight into Montreal, and he swore at that point when that plane came in sideways and the grips were on the hands that he was never going to get on a plane again. And 2 years ago, I talked to Myron about going. He explained that he was not going on a plane, and his brother Ed called from Maine. And his brother Ed, being 2 years younger, is that correct? 4 years younger, Ed was going to drive from Maine to Champlain, pick up Myron, and meet us down in Washington. Now, at 90 years old, Ed, that would have been quite a trip. But just the fact that he offered that was a show of dedication. And Ed surprised Myron today by being here. Myron did not know he was coming, and it was quite a sight to behold when they found out that they were going together on today's tour. So. One more situation we have is Mr. Siskavich. Mr. Siskavich's wife is not well, and he does not like to go too far away from her. For that reason, he's not going to take a whole day and go to Washington, just in case. He wants to be close by in case he has to get back to his wife. Dedication like that is something else. That's Mr. Davies is a childhood friend of Mr. Siskavich. Mr. Davies has already seen the memorials. He's been there, done it. Would have liked to have gone on our flight, but he will not go without his buddy, Mr. Siskavich. We hope to pass dedication and commitment like that onto the future generations. So kids, I hope you're paying attention. I'm going to pass this on to our guy that's been heading up this ceremony for a long time, and Mr. Tom Hollick from Mountain Lake PBS.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. What an incredible crowd. Fantastic for this last honor flight of the year. We are going to begin with our national anthem. Joanne McGovern is here to sing it for us, and we're going to ask that you stand for that and then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, if you will. Good morning.
say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, give proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Now please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. It's now my pleasure this morning to welcome the mayor of the city of Plattsburgh, Colin Reed. Colin is serving his first term as mayor. He is a former county legislator, former dean of the School of Economics and Finance at SUNY Plattsburgh. Please join me in welcoming Colin Reed.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you all for being here especially. This is 2 days in a row that I've had that same feeling of pride and honor. Yesterday, I got to witness a naturalization ceremony where a number of individuals became new citizens of this country. It was a very moving experience. And during that ceremony, they reminded us that when we take on the privilege of joining this country, that we take a solemn oath, that we be willing to bear arms to protect, not necessarily a place, and although it is that, not even necessarily a diversity of people, although certainly that, but you know, America is really a concept, and the things that you've done on behalf of us, some of you because we asked you to or required you to, and some of you because you stepped up and volunteered to do it on our behalf, is really what protects all of us, and is an obligation that we all take, but you have all realized. So I thank you all for your contribution. This day is really all about you. Everybody in this room I know feels exactly the same way as I do. The crowds keep getting bigger and bigger for each of these honor flights, and thank you all for everything you've done. I hope, and I think I share the sentiment of everybody in this room, I hope you have one of the most wonderful days of your life. Thank you very much.
And it's now my honor to introduce former Assemblywoman Janet Dupree, who for a decade represented the North Country in the New York State Assembly in the 115th District. She retired at the end of last year after 41 years in public service with the Clinton County Legislature, 21 years as Clinton County Treasurer, and a decade as a member of the New York State Assembly. She has long been a friend and supporter of veterans and North Country Honor Flight. Please join me in welcoming Janet Dupree.
phenomenal crowd. I don't know about you, but I had a little bit of a time shaking my head when the alarm went off this morning. So thank all of you for being here in honor of this great group of veterans. That, you know, there's nothing that we can say that hasn't been said. I've done 20 of these honor flights, and sometimes I feel like I'm just repetitive, but I do want to bring up something. I haven't said it in a while, and I know some of you who have been here many times have heard it, but it's still one of my favorite stories. And so I say to you folks, as you head down to DC, or as you do the virtual tour today, and I think that's phenomenal, you're getting the chance to do that, is I had a friend from Shazy who went on one of these flights a few years ago, and he was in a wheelchair, and he and his wife were very apprehensive about him taking the trip. I told him they'd have a great day, that he would have a wonderful time, and the following honor flight, he came back, as so many of you in the audience have done, and thanks to all the veterans who keep coming back to pay tribute to their colleagues. And I said to him, I walked over to him and I touched him on the shoulder and I said, "How was your honor flight trip?" And he smiled at me and he took my hand and he said, "You know, it was the best day of my life." And he glanced over his shoulder and he said, "Right after my wedding day." So guys, and Mr. Siskevich, I know you would say the same thing. It is an honor, absolute honor for me to be here. And you know, this is not a political event and I don't get political, but as I sat here and we started the Star Spangled Banner, I'm a huge NFL fan. I have said to many people the best part about retirement is I don't have to go anyplace on Sunday. I can sit home and watch football games for the first time in many, many years, and I'm loving it. But I watched this 98-year-old veteran stand out of his wheelchair today when we played the national anthem and give me a break.
It's now my pleasure to welcome Assemblyman Billy Jones. Billy is serving his first term in the New York State Legislature, representing the 115th Assembly District that covers Clinton and Franklin counties and 4 towns in St. Lawrence County. Prior to being an Assemblyman, Billy was a corrections officer for over 20 years. He also served as mayor for the village of Chateauguay, Franklin County legislator, and chairman of the Franklin County Legislature. Please join me in welcoming Assemblyman Billy Jones.
Thank you, Tom. I can't tell you what an honor it is, and this will be our last flight of this year. But the crowd, look at the crowd here. This has got to be the biggest crowd we've had inside so far. And it's just amazing. The crowds just keep getting larger and larger. And to put on this for our heroes here, the North Country Honor Flight does a tremendous job. But it takes a little money to do that. So I have to put on my fundraising hat right now. Imagine that, a politician fundraising. That goes anonymous. But we will be holding a run on November 25th in Champlain at 9 a.m. It's a 5K run. All proceeds will be going to the honor flight. And I just think it's important that in all these fundraisers and everything that we do, we keep promoting it and keep trying to raise funds to pay for this. It's, you know, we have a lot of volunteers, the Honor Flight Board, everybody that does everything, Barry, and all the work that they do, but it does cost money to do that, to send our heroes to those monuments. So we should keep supporting it, and please do if you can. The virtual reality tour, wow, looking forward to sending our veterans off to that. It's awesome how we can mirror technology and connect our veterans to places where they can't physically go there, but what an honor it is to do that, and that just shows the commitment that the North Country Honor Flight does have. I have an aunt that used to tell me, use this, and this appropriately. So, I think more and more we do a lot of this, and we don't do a lot of this. So if you get a chance to sit down and talk to a veteran and listen to their stories, just listen to them, it can be the best history lesson you've ever had. it's so great to see young kids here to teach them that lesson. What they have to share with us and the experiences they've had, it can't get any better than that. So now I'm going to use this and sit down and shut up so we can honor these great veterans that we have here, these heroes, these American heroes. And I have to go on with what Jan said. I have not been so touched or so moved in a long time than to see this gentleman fight his way to get up and raise out of respect for our country and our flag. It was just so moving to see. I don't know if everyone saw that, but I know we noticed it. So thank you for your service, and thank you very much.
It's now my pleasure to welcome Plattsburgh's Town Supervisor, Michael Cashman. Michael grew up in Massachusetts and attended SUNY Plattsburgh. After graduation, he was hired by the college as the Assistant Director of Campus Activities, while also serving on the Town of Plattsburgh Zoning Board of Appeals, and then elected first as a town councilor, and then becoming the town's youngest ever supervisor. Please join me in welcoming Michael Cashman.
Good morning, folks. I apologize, my voice is breaking a bit. North Country winter season is upon us. You can tell by the head colds going around. But that's actually how I want to make a connection. Over the last couple of days, as I was kind of struggling through losing my voice and the voice crackling and, complaining about, my aches and pains. As I was thinking of today, being here with our hometown heroes, and what a privilege it is to be in your presence, I thought of you being across seas, maybe hunkered down someplace where you can get the NyQuil or the extra Advil or something to heal those pains and wounds and worries and comforts. You put yourself in positions to uphold the best ideals of our democracy and freedom, and did it in a way that comforted us miles and miles away. You were the ones tending to the flame of the privilege of our home country being able to continue to be the greatest nation. And this gentleman, every one of us, that's why we're chatting up here, you, sir, are a pillar of our democracy and a pillar of why our country continues to be the best country on this planet. Can we give him a round of applause? So, while I can't speak for everybody, I can say that the two things that I love most about this event is it brings our hometown heroes together with the next generation. And from my generation to your generation, let me say that we appreciate your service. God bless our veterans. God bless America. Thank you very much, and Godspeed on your incredible journey.
Thank you. Barry reminded me that we forgot to draw for the football, so before Sheriff Cuddy comes up here, let's do that. Signed by the New York Giants. Fantastic. We're going to ask our gentleman here if he would pull out one name. Pull out one name down. There you go. Kevin Giro. Kevin Giro. Right there. And it is now my pleasure to introduce, thank you, Barry, Sheriff Richard Cuddy.
Not that the police would sneak up behind anybody or anything. Good morning. Good morning. We're here, proud and free, due to these veterans, their generation, and everything they've given to us. They're here, sitting in front, because you found them, you brought them to us, and you let us convince them to honor them today. Keep up the good work, bring us your veterans, give us the names, get them here for us. Since our last flight, just a mere 3 weeks ago, we have lost 2 of our alumni. We mourn the passing of Dominic Camello Jr., a World War II Army veteran, and Raymond Plant, a Korean naval veteran. We did get them, we got them on our flight. Please don't let us miss anybody else. But what a change we've seen in the past 60 years. Vietnam veterans know the stigma and the disgraceful way that they were treated when they returned to the U.S., when they returned to the world. Today, we rightfully celebrate our returned heroes and honor them as they deserved, but didn't always get. Look around you today. Other than our honorees up front, which probably if we gave them a choice, they wouldn't be sitting up here in front of you because of the humble nature of their service. But look around you. Where do you see our veterans today? You see them standing quietly in the background, on the back walls, standing a quiet, vigilant guard over these proceedings, because that is what they do. They stepped up when asked, they did what was required of them, and they stand in the background protecting our freedoms and all that we have here today. Thank you to all the veterans here, and as always, thank you to the families and friends, the Honor Flight volunteers, the alumni of Honor Flight, which you see scattered through the audience, the motorcycle escorts, and the police. This happens because of you. God bless you all. God bless Flight 22. Godspeed on your way today. Enjoy the day. Welcome back. Now Post 20 of the American Legion will now render military honors. Please rise, remove your caps, or hand salute. Military members and veterans may render the hand salute. Post 20.
And we want to thank the police pipes and drums of Plattsburgh for Amazing Grace. Thank you very much. I would now like to introduce our flight leaders, Gary Liberty and Sharon Benson Perry, for the introduction of our veterans as they receive their travel orders.
I get the privilege of introducing the members of Flight 22 today. First, let me introduce my fellow flight leaders, Julie Liberty. As he mentioned, in the military, you don't go anywhere or do anything without a set of orders. Anybody in the room that's been in the military knows you got to have a set of orders. So we're going to issue these guys some orders, bring them back to active duty today long enough to take a trip down to D.C. and enjoy their day. So first, let me introduce Corporal Claude W. Aubin, U.S. Army Korean veteran. Served in He was stationed in Germany with the Armored Division headquarters. Corporal Claude W. Aubin. Major John P. Bartizak, U.S. Air Force retired, Korean and Vietnam veteran. Served from May 1952 to May 1972. Last served as a KC-135 tanker navigator in Utapao and Takli, Vietnam. Major John P. Bartizak. Sergeant Sebo Bogosian, U.S. Army World War II veteran. Served from October 1942 to March 1946. He was a cryptographer serving in China.
Thank you for your service.
Sergeant Sebo Bogosian. A quick story about Sebo. When I was talking with him, he said when he was in China, one night he was walking back to the base and he just got paid. You know, they got paid a lot of money back then, a whole $36 a month. And on his way back, on one of the street corners, one of the Chinese guys pulled out a gun and took his money. So when he got back to the base, he was so mad, he went to his room, got his gun, went back, and got his money back. First Lieutenant Christopher H. Booth, U.S. Army Korean veteran. Served August 1951 to October 1953. Buildings and grounds officer with the 55th Quartermaster Depot in Busan, Korea. He claims his team built the longest NCO club bar in Korea. First Lieutenant Walter G. Bruska, U.S. Army Air Corps World War II veteran. From July 1943 to June 1946. Served initially in Utapao and Takli in Thailand as a navigator on B-29, and then with the 316th Bomb Group in Guam. 6 of his friends never came home from Europe. First Lieutenant Walter G. Bruska. Seaman First Class Peter A. Jones, U.S. Coast Guard, World War II veteran. Served from February 1945 to May 1946 in Shepherd's Bay. First Seaman First Class. Corporal Scott D. Munger, U.S. Marine Corps, World War II veteran. Served from 1946, July 1946 to February 1948. He was in the occupation of China as a rifleman. Corporal Scott D. Munger. Private First Class Robert P. O'Neill, U.S. Army, Korean veteran. Served from February 1951 to November 1952. He was a tank mechanic with the 6th Tank Battalion. Private First Class Robert P. O'Neill. Pat Patterson, U.S. Navy, Korean veteran. Served from 1952 to September 1954. He was a member of the crash crew on an aircraft carrier, responding to fires and airplanes crashing on the boat. Also served on the USS Lake Champlain. Lloyd Corporal Atwood F. Pierce, U.S. Army Korean veteran. Served from July 1953 to June 1956 with the 3rd Armored Division, General Patton's old army. He was an infantryman as well as working with artillery. Corporal Atwood F. Pierce. Specialist 3, Robert J. Reddy, U.S. Army Korean veteran. Served from July 1955 to June 1957, also with the 3rd Armored Division. He was stationed in Germany and was in charge of the motor pool. Specialist 3, Robert J. Rennie. Staff Sergeant John A. Roach, U.S. Army Korean veteran. Served from September 1952 to August 1954 with the 4th Infantry Regiment. Sergeant Roach fought, and now folks have heard of the battle, it's well known, the Battle of Pork Chop Hill in Korea. That battle lasted for several weeks, not days. And U.S. casualties in that battle were 243, and the Chinese and Korean lost 1,500. That was an awful battle. Staff Sergeant John Roach. Specialist 3, George L. Sal, U.S. Army Korean veteran. Served from April 1955 to April 1957. He was a finance instructor with the U.S. Army Finance School, Fort Benjamin Harris, Indiana. Specialist 3, George L. Sal. Corporal Robert C. Sheridan, U.S. Army Korean veteran. Served from August 1948 through May 1952 with the 2nd Division Engineers, also known as the Lucky 13. In a skirmish with the Chinese, Robert was hit by a blast from a grenade and spent 3 months in the hospital. Subsequently was awarded the Purple Heart. Corporal Robert C. Sheridan. Ladies and gentlemen, Flight 22.
I'm pleased to announce flight number 1 of virtual reality. With Mr. Irving Briette, he served in World War II in the Army from 1942 until 1945 in the European Theater of Operations. He separated from service as a sergeant after having fought in Central Europe, North Africa, and the Rhineland. He was awarded a Medal of Good Conduct, the European African Middle Eastern Service Medal, and the World War II Victory Medal. Mr. Irving Briette. Mr. Kenneth Davies, Army, was a member of the 296th Military Police Company in Berlin, Germany during World War II. He guarded and patrolled the hospital there. He and Frenchie Siskavich, another one of our virtual reality veterans today, were best friends while in school in Lion Mountain and remain so today, as we heard earlier. They were the only 2 boys in a class of 13, so when Frenchie headed off to the war, barely ahead of Ken, Ken was left with all the women to graduate. Mr. Ken Davies. Mr. Edwin Degenhardt enlisted in the Navy at the age of 17 during World War II. He trained in the Finger Lake region of New York and was then sent to Louisville, Kentucky, where he worked at a recruiting station re-enlisting sailors who had separated from service. He was discharged from the Navy as a third-class petty officer and went on to college. He is here today from his home in Maine and Florida, depending on the season, as a total surprise to his brother Myron, whom he hasn't seen in about a year. Welcome, Edwin Degenhardt. Mr. Myron Degenhardt was a Navy Seabee during World War II. He helped build the Tinian Island Airfield, which was the launching point for the Enola Gay. He also had the opportunity to fly a training mission as a tail gunner on a B-29. When his brother Edwin talked of this, he sounded a little envious. We hope that Mr. Myron Degenhardt and his brother Edwin create many wonderful memories on their virtual honor flight here today. Mr. Myron Degenhardt. James J. Edwards entered into active duty with the U.S. Army April 14, 1950, and was discharged honorably in April 1953. His wartime experiences included the Battle of Incheon, Battle of the Pusan Perimeter, and the Battle of Unsan. He was later wounded by a mortar shell on February 23, 1951 in South Korea. He was a member of the 8th Cavalry, 3rd Battalion, 1 Company. He was awarded the Purple Heart, Combat Infantry Badge, Korean Service Medal with 4 stars, the United Nations Service Medal, and the National Defense Medal. The members of the 3rd Battalion were awarded the Presidential Unit Citation for Valor for the Battle of Unsan. Mr. James Edwards. Mr. Kenneth Lord was a Tech 5 with the Army, 39th Field Artillery during World War II. He worked as a prison guard at a POW camp and also as a battalion truck driver in Darmstadt, Germany. Mr. Lord augmented his military pay by selling cigarettes since he didn't smoke. He recounts that he met some very interesting local characters during his sales career. He also recalled that Darmstadt was almost completely destroyed by bombing, and though he never returned, he was glad to learn that Darmstadt was quickly renovated. Mr. Kenneth Lord. Mr. Harvey Reel served in the Army during the Korean War as a private first-class power generator specialist. He was in the 8th Army, 7th Cavalry, and was at Freedom Bridge on Padre Hill, only 5 miles from the DMZ. He fueled and oiled the generators that kept the light, signal corps, and TV station operational. He had the power. Until one day when he was pinned between 2 55-gallon drums and broke his knee. That accident landed him in the hospital for a month, but he recovered and continued to serve until his discharge in 1963. Mr. Harvey Reel. Mr. Francis Siskevich prefers to be known as Frenchie, with a Y. He served in World War II stateside, but was ready to go wherever Uncle Sam sent him. He recalls receiving his letter saying, "Greetings, we want you," from the military, which found him being taken out of school in Lion Mountain in March of 1945, just before spring graduation. Mr. Frenchie left his good buddy Ken Davies to graduate with a class of 11 young ladies. Frenchie did go back to finish school after serving our country and still enjoys his occasional retreats with Mr. Davies, somewhere in the Akwesasne region. Our virtual honor flight and our flight leader, Pauline Stone, is here as well. I wanted to acknowledge her. I'm just the assistant flight leader. I think we're done, yeah.
Thank you, Chairman Terry. I would now like to introduce the Morrisonville Elementary School Chorus. under the direction of Heidi Glover, Marie Dennis, 24-2, 5th grade, here to perform an original song, Red, White, and Blue. This song was written by students at Morrisonville Elementary shortly after the terrorist attacks of 2001, 9/11. Roy Bird helped them write this song, and to this day, they perform it for veterans and at the honor flight here. So happy to have them here this morning.
That is for the courage that beats in every heart. It helps us stand together so that we all can do our part. It's the color of the rising sun that begins a brand new day. It brings home to every heart and helps to light our way. Raise it up, let it fly. Let it dance across the boundless sky, stars and stripes shining through, a symbol of who we are, red, white, and blue. White reflects honesty in its purest form, righteousness and spirit that can weather any storm. In the land of Lady Liberty, with our flag unfurled, welcoming the weary from all around the world. Raise it up, let it fly, let it dance across the cloudless sky, stars and stripes shining through, a symbol of who we are, red, white, and blue. Blue stands for freedom and American pride. It represents the sorrow when we remember those who died. It's the color of a hero's uniform and the ultimate price they paid. And all the million tears that fell on that September day. Raise it up and let it fly. Let it dance across the boundless sky, stars and stripes shining through, a symbol of who we are, red, white, and blue. Let it fly, let it dance across the boundless sky, stars and stripes shining through, a symbol of who we are, red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue.
Mike Furlers is here now with our closing prayer. There's our future singing red, white, and blue. Thank you so much. In doing so, you bring great honor to these men who fought for your liberty. The deliberations of the Constitutional Convention of 1787 were held in strict secrecy. Consequently, anxious citizens gathered outside Independence Hall when the proceedings ended in order to learn what had been produced behind closed doors. The answer was provided immediately. A Mrs. Powell from Philadelphia asked Benjamin Franklin, "Well, doctor, what have we got, a republic or a monarchy?" With no hesitation whatsoever, Franklin responded, "A republic, if you can keep it." Today we honor those who signed on the dotted line, pledging their lives to save that very republic, not a democracy. It is my hope that each and every one of us here today
is thankful and grateful for each and every soul that donned the uniform displaying the flag of the United States of America. Benjamin Franklin also said, an investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. As a father of 4 and a grandfather of 3, I will always, always give my children knowledge of those in uniform who pledged their commitment to liberty, who pledged their commitment to the symbol of freedom recognized world over, the flag of the United States of America. I thank my God for each and every one of you. I stand for the national anthem, and I kneel before my God for the fallen. Almighty Father, I ask that you have your angels guide and protect this flight today, that you bring them to and from D.C. safely. Your Son said, greater love has no one than this, that someone laid down his life for his friends. Each one honored here today lives up to that scripture. Bless them this day and their time together with their family and friends, and I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Gentlemen, I want to thank you for your service, and I want to thank you sincerely for my freedom. Thank you, each and every one.
We want to thank you for attending this morning. You are welcome, as Barry said, to join the motorcade over to the airport to view the aircraft boarding and taking off from the designated spot in the parking lot. If you've never gone down New York Road and seen all the volunteer firefighters and first responders out there saluting, the ladder trucks holding up the giant flag, they give you goosebumps. So please go over to the airport and experience that. And then, if you can, please accompany the Honor Flight bus on to Beacontown Central School and welcome our virtual reality veterans into the school. Also remember, 10:30 this evening, our veterans will be right back here at the Oval returning. We hope you can make it to help provide them with a warm welcome. Please join me now as Director of Operations Richard Cutting is going to introduce our veterans for our Walk of Honor as they board the Honor Flight bus. Thank you for coming.
Just a couple of things before we start our roster. There's an event called Race Across America. It is a foot race where you can sponsor any veteran anytime. You can find that at raceacrossamerica.org. You can go on and sponsor a veteran and help veterans' causes. And one thing that we kind of neglect here, and it's all our fault. Unfortunately, I'd like to fix that. You see the crowds here, you see the bikers, you see the escort, you see the police, but don't forget about the honor guards and our active duty military who come hand out the orders. We'd just like to acknowledge them that they donate their time and they're here for that. In our Walk of Honor, we begin with our virtual reality. Irving Brad, United States Army Air Force. Kenneth Davies, United States Army.
He's up there. He's up there.
Mom. Me. Number 3.
Army, Lyell, United States Army. Francis Siskovic.
Sorry, Calvin. Dad, behave. Have fun.
Hello, Mr. Bouillet.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you. Thank you. You can sit right there. You can sit right there.
Peter Jones, United States Coast Guard.
Thank you, Peter.
Long time no see.
Robert Rennie, United States Army.
Unfortunately, Mr. Sheridan is coming through now, and he's not going to experience the people at this end kind of thought that it was over, but he's the last one to board the bus today, and he deserves the camera just as much as everybody else. Now on to the parade. Beyond the oval, and see them coming off the old air base, heading for the new base, and then on to the international airport. Once they arrive at the airport, the virtual reality people will move on to Beekmantown for the virtual reality tour. Judy Castine is here with a camera. I will wrap up the events at the base, which don't take too long, at the airport, and then meet up with her in Beekmantown. So we're going to end today's events with a coverage from the Beekmantown. Not quite sure what we're going to get at this point in time, but that's where we're going to wrap it up. As I said, Judy Castine with the camera. We'll ride the bus to Beekmantown, and we'll wrap it up there. Once again, an outstanding turnout by the local motorcycle riders. Just a great turnout. Different groups get together and honor these veterans. They've been doing it right from the first honor flight. So many people from the law enforcement, border protection, that are here taking part in this, providing all of these veterans the tribute they so justifiably deserve. There's the bus, the honor flight bus. This is the bus that'll be heading for Beekmantown. And when the last police vehicle goes by, and we'll hop in our car and race to the airport and try to get there. And sometimes it's a bit of a challenge. Because as you can see, there's a whole string of cars behind these guys. We've got to pull out in traffic. Well, that'll wrap up this. We're heading to the airport. The honor guard is making its way around the former new base, and we are arriving at Plattsburgh International Airport. Normally there are police stopping traffic, but not today. And this is the Keysville Fire Department with the flag here that'll greet them when they arrive here at the airport. We're now at the Plattsburgh International Airport. Knights of Columbus Color Guard are here. The, law enforcement, the Color Guard from American Legion Post 912, and here they come. The bus will be coming to the left of us. And many of these hopefully will be waiting for that bus and going on to Beekmantown.
We're good. Okay.
As we mentioned in the past, this bus was donated by El Sable Valley School District and painted up and put in service about a year ago. It's the official North Country Honor Flight bus. In the Beekmantown school bus are the escorts for the virtual reality folks. That guy's going to be getting back on the bus. He's going on a virtual reality. That's probably Mr. Brett. This is, I believe they said, the 22nd North Country Honor Flight. We've Been privileged to be at all 22 of them. 300 and I think 38 was the number they gave. Veterans been able to go to Washington to see the various monuments. For any remaining World War II veterans who haven't gone, who would like to go or to take the virtual reality trip, please, by all means, contact the North Country Honor Flight. If you don't know how to do that, contact any of your local veterans groups. And if all else fails, you can contact Hometown Cable. Recognizing the people in the fourth degree honor guard. I wasn't counting. I don't know if that's all of them. All right, that was all of them, so we're just going to wander inside here just to show the inside of the airport. Judy Castine's got the camera outside. She's taking pictures of the folks. And while we're watching these guys get on the elevator, we'll talk to this young man right here. What's your name, young man?
Ricky Jenkins.
Ricky, you was it 2-3? Was it this year or last year you went?
Last year.
Last year.
Yeah.
It was quite an experience, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I used to live in Washington, so it was quite an experience there.
As I recall, was it from Texas your son came up?
Yeah.
That's quite a trip to.
Oh,
took the long way to Washington, didn't he?
Oh yes, indeed. He loved it though. This first time he was in Washington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I talk to him about every Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, he's looking to come back so he can get back down to well, he want to come back here.
Right.
Yeah. But it's a treat. It's a treat. It was good. And all these people that are going now, this is their first time.
Right.
And they're loving it, and they haven't been there yet, you know.
Well, when you get back, you got a lot of stories to tell.
Oh my goodness.
And you'll keep those memories forever, won't you?
Oh, forever. I was asking the guy today what do you think the crowd, how many people we had today?
Well, there were 14 going to Washington and 8 going to Beekmantown. So a total of 22 veterans going today.
Yeah. No, I mean the crowd.
Oh, the crowd. Oh.
Yeah, crowd. They ask me that all the time. And
a whole lot.
I know. They ask me that all the time. And I said, well, I'm going to ask someone else, you know.
You ought to hand out tickets so we can just
I had
find
one
out.
of those things on the
little counter.
Yeah, on the door there, you know. Yeah. I'm gonna find out one of these days. Maybe the next
You're
time.
gonna start counting, right?
Yeah.
Get there early then.
Yes, and oh yes, I'm the first one there almost.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for chatting with us, Ricky. I gotta
Well,
I gotta
yes.
head for Beekman Town.
I'm going to see. I'm going to find that this guy from Rouse's Point want to know where he can get this on the air, you know, TV.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to find somebody that really knows that. So he said he went to someone's house, and they watch us on TV.
Right.
But he want to watch it at home.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
I'll find out.
All right. We'll make sure you know.
Oh yes.
All right.
Yes.
Thanks, Rick.
Yes. Very good.
And we are back outside. The bus is just finishing being loaded, and we're going to head for Beekman Town. And thanks for watching and supporting Hometown Cable. This will end this portion of the programming. Thank you.